We, we were older, we were more experienced, and even though we started slow, down 4-2 after that first media timeout, I was comfortable. I thought defensively, we did a lot of nice things. Mumford just comes in here after 30 or 32 against Temple. Langston did a really great job. Our bigs did a good job of showing on the screen. And then our bench in the first half. Chris Wilson was terrific. CJ was terrific. Papa was terrific. It made a big difference in the way that we were able to kind of get a spread. And then we stayed with it. We talked about it at halftime that in other situations that we've been like this, our shot decisions have been bad. But in the second half, I was really pleased. I thought we took our time and played the game the right way.
For Carl Jones, this being his final home game, how would you sum up the season and the career that he's had here?
Well, the season's not to be summed up. We have games to play. I mean, there should be celebration now. We made Brooklyn, right?
Yep.
So there'll be a big celebration, since we were all worried about that. So it's to be written. And his career, when you play the guard position, you're based on your team's wins. So tell me how many wins we're going to have in 2 weeks, and then I'll tell you what kind of career he had. The points mean nothing to me. Now, they mean something to him, and they mean something to, people that, but to me, that position is you're only graded on how many games your team wins.
So it seemed like you really liked the way you shared the ball in the first half, especially I think the pass to Darius. Is that kind of what you were talking about the other day? You talked about high-level guard play or whatever?
Well, I think that both Chris and Tay gave us high-level guard play. And, we took the ball. One of the things we wanted to do was take the ball into the lane, either by pass or by dribble, and then distribute from there. We did a really good job in practice yesterday of putting the ball in the post and then playing off the post. We didn't know quite how they would play us. And we didn't shoot the ball particularly well from the perimeter. Lang struggled from the perimeter. Tay struggled from the perimeter. I mean, they're 2 for 11 from 3. But we put the ball in the right place. It wasn't just come down and jack it from the three-point line.
Coach, these guys hung with LaSalle and Temple. I think they've led it.
Last 5 games, they've led it at halftime. Yeah.
How important was it for you guys to kind of put that right away at the beginning? To be up.
You answered your own question. Yeah, it was. To me, it was a really big deal. I'll admit to anybody, I'm a nervous wreck on game day. I think of everything that could happen. What if they play a triangle on 2? What if they play us like the old LaSalle defense and they don't put anybody there? Do we have an answer for all this kind of stuff? But my biggest thing was, how did we come out? Because I knew that there wouldn't be great atmosphere. I think some days, on senior days, guys try for the wrong reasons, and I addressed that yesterday. We were playing this game. I've never started seniors on senior day. It's just not my nature. I had a high school team one time, I had 13 seniors, so how do you decide who starts? I had a son that was on this team. He didn't start senior. So I like these guys. I wasn't starting them. We were here to win this game tonight and to keep kind of moving ourselves forward. So, and we drilled this team. We drilled our team about the last 5 games. These guys have had leads at halftime. And the Temple game was 64-64, and then it became Khalif Wyatt time. LaSalle, I didn't watch that game. I jumped over that game. I watched Dayton and Xavier, and they led both of those. They're legitimate teams, and they led both of them at halftime. So you're right. It was a big deal to see, kind of pull away in the first half.
In terms of the perimeter defense, they were made 1 3-pointer. What was working there?
The big guys did a really nice job on the ball screens by showing up, what we call a quick blitz, and the guards were really dedicated to keeping the ball in front. You can get a 3 if you can get into a crack on a dribble and throw it to that guy, and they just weren't able to do that. In the first half, they were 0 for 7. But they don't have great numbers from the 3-point line. We just didn't want it to become a 3-point shooting contest.
How's CJ feel and kind of what went into
Well, he didn't practice yesterday. He stretched and he rode the bike. You know, it could be a funny joke to say he was mimicking Lance Armstrong, but now that's not funny anymore. Today during the walkthrough, and it was literal, we just walked through on game day. We don't do anything live. He walked through. I said in the second half to the coaches, should I get him out earlier? Because he is I thought he was a little bit favoring and a little bit ginger. It's his back. You know, I've seen some reports where it was his wrist. It's not his wrist. He could play with his wrist, but he can't play with the back the way it is. And now we need him Saturday because I haven't seen Charlotte to study them yet, but Coach Duda has told me that they are very, very, very physical and very long. So we're going to need to see. And, you know, other than 1 3 that he took in front of their bench, he kind of flung it from his ear. I was comfortable with what he did out there.
Well, people might look at the opponent, but your offense was really sharp tonight.
Better.
The last 3 home games, I think it's been that way.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you, Aaron. And I think that's interesting because at the end of the year, you really can't execute. You can't really run your stuff because everybody knows what it is and they all have a plan and they've all studied other plans for taking away. Like in the beginning of the game, they weren't guarding Darius. But the ball tonight got from sideline to sideline to sideline, and I really thought that guys were looking for that next guy. And I haven't had a problem. I don't think we've had a selfish play or many all year. So, but I agree with you. I think the last 2 games, you know, Fordham, and I said that to the players, you know what? We did what we had to do offensively, and now tonight I'm leaving here feeling comfortable, and then we'll have to see how Charlotte's going to guard us.
You guys haven't been able to get on that true roll at any point this year.
Great.
I mean, how important is it going through Charlotte into Brooklyn? How important is it to
Well, I think the only thing that's important is Charlotte. I really do. I don't think you can. You know, last week we talked about, well, do I think we could win 4 games? Well, guess what? I wouldn't show up for work tomorrow if I didn't think we could. But I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in can we win Saturday night? Then we'll catch our breath Sunday. We'll look around and we'll say, who do we play on Thursday? Plain and simple. That's as much as we can do. And you know, and I'm going to be emphatic with this team tomorrow. You want to go into Brooklyn playing better. We've lost 4 straight road games, so we want to go on the road. We're going to be in neutral settings in Brooklyn, and hopefully we're going to have basketball beyond Brooklyn. And you know, we could be a road team again. Let's really measure up, but don't get ahead of yourself. Like don't be giddy and come tomorrow to be better than we were tonight.
So you guys held Xavier Munford to 3 points. Anything special that you guys did against him, or was he just off? Or?
Well, I thought that Langston Galloway used his size very effectively. Lang is a little bit taller than Xavier. And we've been drilling our guys about how prolific a scorer he is. So I thought that we did a really nice job of team defense against him, but Langston Galloway gets the bulk of the credit here.
Phil, how honored are you that you were able to get Taylor and Chris into this game at the end on this night?
Well, it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing for their families. I'm delighted for their families, and it was planned. I mean, they went in ahead of some guys who are higher up on the bench, and I wanted to get them out so that they could be acknowledged. My first focus was to win the game, and I told our team yesterday. You know, everybody talks about honoring seniors. You honor seniors by winning the game on their night, and then if we can get them in the game, we get them in the game. But I don't force that at the beginning of the game. So, you know, they're first and foremost terrific representatives of their family, and their family should be very proud of them, and equally as proud of them in May when they graduate.
So obviously, this is the first year for Dan Hurley here, and I mean he was obviously disappointed after this game. Do you see them in the next year or two doing good things? I mean, with his recruiting. I mean, did you feel?
Well, here's what I would. Here's how I would, and I don't mean to be short about the answer to it. They beat St. Louis. That's enough said. Nobody else, none of the rest of us can get close to St. Louis. They beat St. Louis. They scored 82 points at St. Louis. I mean, we've lost to St. Louis, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. I don't think in 7 games we have 80 points combined. I mean, come on. They went to Temple. Temple coming in really hot, and it's 64-64 with 6 minutes left. You know, they're going to be fine. They're going to be. I'm a big fan of Danny and Bobby. That whole staff. Kevin Tyrone was a student assistant here for me. Jimmy Carr worked with my son. You know, in fact, I looked up at one point and went, you know what, I hope next year up there it's not turned around and they're not putting this on us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is scores. The GW lost to that punch.